Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep into an immediate and frankly critical 9-day weather outlook. This covers Europe, Western Russia, and the North Caucasus, running from August 28th right through to September 5th, 2025. And what's really striking here, what you need to know about, is this continent of contrasts. They're stark and they're dynamically linked. So on one hand, we're tracking a severe, pretty widespread and persistent heat wave. It's impacting a huge area, Western and Central Europe, stretching deep into Western Russia, even the North Caucasus. But then on the other hand, there's this concentrated, multi-day severe storm outbreak forecast for the Northern Mediterranean. We're talking Italy, the Western Balkans specifically.
Yeah, and what's truly remarkable, fascinating really, is that these aren't just, separate events happening randomly. If you connect the dots, look at the bigger picture, they're actually two direct results of one single, highly amplified weather pattern across the continent. Think of it like this. There's this powerful heat dome, essentially a big, stubborn bubble of high-pressure trapping warm air, and it's parked right over northern Europe. It's acting like an atmospheric block. It's literally forcing a deep upper-level trough. That's a big dip in the jet stream, bringing unstable weather, forcing it southward into the Mediterranean.
Right, okay, so that heat dome sounds incredibly impactful. What does that actually mean for temperatures on the ground, especially this late in the season?
Exactly, that's the thing. This heat dome is bringing extreme late season temperatures. Really quite remarkable. Take Moscow, for instance, its long-term average high for September, around 16 Celsius, but we could see it surge to 29 Celsius, that's 84 Fahrenheit, by August 31st.
Wow, quite a jump.
Or look at Grozny, down in the North Caucasus. It's expected to climb to a scorching 39 Celsius, 102 Fahrenheit by September 2nd. That's way above its normal August average. And this late timing, it really prolongs the cumulative heat stress. That's a critical concern, for public health. People just aren't as prepared.
So while one part of Europe is basically baking, this upper-level trough you mentioned is creating chaos further south. What does that look like exactly for Italy and the Balkans?
Absolutely. So that deep trough, sometimes called a cutoff low because it gets sort of detached from the main jet stream flow, or NMA in Spanish meteorology, it's interacting with an exceptionally warm and moist Mediterranean air mass. And that's a direct legacy, really, of the heat waves we saw mid-August.
Okay, so that's the fuel for the storms then.
Precisely. All that warmth and moisture creates extreme atmospheric instability. It's like loading a spring with immense energy. You're seeing really high values of KP, that's convective available potential energy, a key measure for storm potential, likely exceeding 2,000, maybe even 3,000 joules per kilogram. That pretty much guarantees powerful storms. So it sets the stage for a high confidence forecast. We're expecting multi-day severe thunderstorms, and we're talking extreme rainfall. Potentially 200, 300 millimeters in just 48 hours. That means severe flash flooding. Plus, large to very large hail, damaging winds, and yes, a definite risk of tornadoes, including waterspouts over the seas, Ligurian, Tyrrhenian, Adriatic.
That paints a really intense picture. So stepping back, what does this all mean for you, for people living through this or planning around it? The impacts sound incredibly profound, affecting so many different areas, right?
They really are.
Public health, for starters. Heat waves are now Europe's deadliest extreme weather events. We've seen tens of thousands of deaths recently. And that risk gets worse in cities like Grozny and Moscow because of the urban heat island effect.
Absolutely. And then you have agriculture facing this double whammy drought under the heat dome, potential floods from the storms further south.
Energy grids, too, I imagine. Struggling with record demand while generation capacity might be reduced.
That's right. And even transport roads, railway tracks, they're at risk of buckling from the extreme heat.
So what this forecast really shows us then is how quickly the kind of future projected by, say, the IPCC or Copernicus is actually becoming our present reality.
That's a crucial point. It's pushing our systems to adapt, and adapt fast. It's not just that these extremes are happening. It's the compound nature, the combination of events, and how close they are geographically. That really highlights the speed of climate shift. I mean, Europe's warming more than twice as fast as the global average since 1991. We are seeing increases in both hot extremes and extreme rainfall. It's documented, this 9-day period. It's basically a real-world case study of what climate change looks like on an operational, day-to-day timescale.
And you mentioned this earlier, but there's this stark paradox, isn't there? It really underlines the challenge. We're seeing widespread, intensifying drought under the heat dome, happening at the exact same time as catastrophic flooding just a few hundred kilometers away.
Yeah.
This complex, kind of non-uniform impact of climate change. Well, it presents a massive challenge for managing resources across borders for emergency response. we need totally new ways to prepare.
Exactly. And this idea of normal weather, based on 20th century averages, for strategic planning, it's becoming, well, frankly, obsolete. The climate baseline itself is shifting rapidly under our feet.
So that economic damage we see, it's not just a temporary shock.
No, not necessarily. It can persist for years. It can fundamentally change regional economies. So strategic planning, how we design infrastructure, public health preparedness, all of it really must be based on looking forward, using climate projections, not just looking back at historical averages. We have to anticipate.
Right, we have to anticipate, not just react. So here's something provocative to think about, maybe mull over. If this 9-day outlook is truly a kind of preview of our climate future, how dramatically do we need to rethink our whole understanding of seasonal weather? And how much do we need to adapt our systems, our lives, to what seems like an increasingly unpredictable and extreme reality?